off to see.
I know you want to do it.
Yeah, and we're back.
We're back.
You know me. God, you guys
we're
know
back.
me. Oh, that's ridiculous.
Well, you nailed that on our first one, our first show.
And then I nailed it again the second time around.
Holy cow.
Oh,
Whoa.
yeah.
Mr. Confidence.
Uh-oh.
All right, Ray Schaefer, the time has come. We are sitting here with Ray Schaefer from Porsche Classic. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. How are the cans working for you?
The cans?
Yeah. Sorry, the headset.
Oh, the headset.
You asked about the headset. Is that all right?
Cans.
He's
Yeah,
like-
actually.
They're called cans. Out here in business talk, they're called cans.
Okay. Well, it's working well.
You're comfortable?
Yeah, it doesn't work. It's probably. I don't normally wear hats, and it kind of feels like a hat.
I'm taking a picture of Dwight taking a picture of you right
Right.
now. There we go. That was good.
Hilarious.
But I get to sit in the LCW while you're over there in the aluminum group management chair.
So you do. You are a chair expert. We weren't kidding about that. We were kidding, but not about that.
But
Not
kind of
really.
not.
Well, I've been watching your shows for a while now since Tory started, and I thought, boy, that's a beautiful chair. And of course, I know why you have them here because you just fit perfectly, and you can sit for a while.
It's nice.
Yeah.
So you heard about our show and you said, "Oh, I would actually do that."
I would, yeah. Since you guys are just talking about some fun stuff and coming out here for the Luft weekend, and why not? With all the Porsche people, it's all about community and the passion, and it's fun to meet people that feel the same way.
Absolutely.
We talk an awful lot about that, about how Instagram brings people together, and I think everybody in this room today, save for DJ, of course, who's off camera, is pretty much that's how we met.
I love that. Just ignore me after I ask this, but is that,
And I love that.
yeah.
is that a Porsche thing, mentality, or is it a classic thing? Just the camaraderie of the social media and all that kind of stuff, or is that like a you thing?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people in Porsche that I see it with. Yeah, sure.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah, there's so much
know.
enthusiasm within the company. I hope maybe over time you get to have more folks from the company here, because I mean you see a lot of them when you go places. You talked about Jennifer, and so I mean there's a lot of folks out there. Owen, we get to do what we love every day, and that's
I love hearing
And get
that.
paid for it.
Yeah.
That's like happiness right there. Like
As
you
an
say.
adult,
Doesn't
that's what you
happen.
learn. That's what
Doesn't
it's
It
about.
does not happen. No, I mean, you hit the lottery, man. You really did. But you also put the work in to get there as well. It wasn't like an overnight success thing.
No, and there's a lot of pay it forward. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of people along the way that you get to do what you do, because over time you meet people who help you out,
Absolutely.
that see the enthusiasm and the interest that you have and
Yep.
what they're doing, and you have the opportunity to do the same at some point for other people. So, yeah, that's wonderful. I've often joked though at these events that we go to, instead of having "Hello, my name is," that we should have Instagram handles.
Yeah,
So
we
true.
say the same thing.
Yep.
We were even talking about maybe putting that like where you would put a driver's name like above between the A and the B pillars on our car. We were thinking about just like a Porsche Life thing or something like
Yep.
that. I mean, people know the car at this point, but
Yes,
But when you're outside of the car,
Yeah.
then it's like how many people are gonna walk around tomorrow at Luft and be best friends on social media or
You
always
know them.
comment,
You
and
know
then
them.
you're not gonna be like, oh wait, that's Mark Pravanik or whatever. Like, it's so funny how that is, but
it's crazy. We're finally at a point where people are doing that, where they come up to you at car shows and stuff, and it is that type of thing where you don't know what anyone's face is, because we're the rare ones that are posting what we look like in our Instagram photos. Usually
Exactly.
it's beautiful, imagery.
right.
So you have no idea what anybody looks like.
Right.
So I think that this is a great idea, Ray Schaefer. Let's do it.
You're on to something.
Yep.
maybe,
too.
maybe
Let's get them
Dwight,
printed by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Dwight could design them for us.
Yeah.
He's got nothing but
exactly.
time.
Oh.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know all that much about you, and I specifically didn't do a tremendous amount of research for the sake of having an authentic conversation and getting to know you. You see how we do it.
And I like it.
You did send me a bunch of photos, which we can pull up at any time you want to. If you want me to go through them, we can do that, and you can talk about them, or you can tell me stories. I can bring them up. It's up to you. But know that we have those available whenever.
I play with so many photos on Instagram. I forget which ones almost.
Right.
And you're welcome to any one of them.
Then let's just pull some up randomly, because I think this one might be
Gorgeous.
recent, and at least a couple of these people are sitting at this table. So just pop that up there.
Ah, yes. That was a wonderful weekend. That was a panel discussion that we did at the Porsche Experience Center Atlanta. One of the jobs that I get to do there is look after the Heritage Gallery. And so,
it's breathtaking.
the PECs are like clubhouse.
Well, let's talk about this picture. Who's in this picture, first of all?
That would be Jim Goodlett.
Okay. In the martini racing hat?
Yeah, hashtag Slideways.
Oh, you're kidding.
JC Goodlett.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure
him.
you've seen. He
Here's
has the
the thing.
most
I
famous
don't.
car on the internet.
I don't until yesterday. That's crazy that this is how this is all happening. Literally yesterday, this car was at the Peterson last night, correct?
No.
So, not
not
that car,
Jim's
but
car.
his the Slideways car
Well, there's a lot of folks now. There's a 996 that I saw there last night.
with
That's a
the
friend of his.
Safari.
Yeah.
Okay, that was perhaps it then.
That's probably
there's a lot.
It's like
of,
this whole movement now. It's like a subculture.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what
totally.
That's
Which
what I'm
is-
getting at. There's a whole big
yeah.
to do about that car
Oh.
from last night. And
Groundbreaking.
people who
Yep.
like it, people who don't like it, and then the internet.
It really shook things up in the Porsche world.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What are we
And you can-
talking about? What
I don't have a picture of it, unfortunately.
car and Safari? Is it the same story? What's
Kind
happening?
of like, Lee Keen, I think, had a big hand in that as well, who you also know.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the Porsche history is not only is it deep with sports cars and sports car racing, but also off road. In fact, Ferry Porsche was the one who said the 911 was one of the rare cars that you could drive to the office on Monday. You could race it and win at Le Mans with it, and you can drive it to dinner on Friday night, and you can take it to the Monte Carlo Rally and win with that too. So
This is really my favorite thing about your kind of cars.
it hits all these
so
wonderful.
neat.
Yeah, it hits all these wonderful. There you go. That's the 996.
It's
It
not the
was.
best way
Okay.
to do it, but that's
Yeah.
the sucker we're talking about.
Oh, the green one.
Yeah, I've never seen this car in person, but Rodrigo Torres, whose wife is the president of the PCA Los Angeles, he posted it last night, and then just watching people jump on was entertaining.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah. Shaking
People
things up.
enthusiastic from both sides.
Right.
Love it, hate it.
Both camps.
Love it, hate it.
Yep.
So there is this growing subculture we've talked about Safari 911s. The people that there's the R group, obviously, that's focused on the sport purpose 911s. And now there's this off-road group, these folks who are focusing on the South African rallies and the Paris-Dakar and what have you. So a lot of tribute cars that are being built out of that.
So they're building these cars specifically for rallies there.
They
Is
do
that-
rally cross, or they just take them like Jim does, and we'll go off, and he lives in Savannah, and he'll go off and drive that thing on Hutchison Island, just on his way to work. He's got some great stories about that, too. I'll let him tell them when he comes on your show.
Please.
Yeah,
All right.
sure.
Well, I derailed that because I didn't know that was going to be the answer. But all right. So we've
See,
got
Instagram.
Slideways,
Instagram again.
and then we've
Yep.
got you, Ray. We've got you, V-Dubber. Looks like you had a couple
20
pounds,
pounds
on you
heavier?
there. Yeah, a couple pounds in those cheeks there.
But I like that red Carpe Diem shirt.
Yeah.
And
White.
That's
Always-
right. Nice carpe gear. But then the fella there at the end is a commercial director that some people may know through the Porsche community, I guess.
May have heard of him.
Perhaps Mr. Jeff Zwart, who we're all massive fans of, and I've still never even talked to the man. I see him all the time. I
Really?
never walk over at the right opportunity. He's always talking to somebody else, or we
That
just.
should change tomorrow.
I hope so, because I'm a massive fan, not just of his Porsche stuff and his accomplishments there, but just from. I mean,
His
I used to
commercial
work.
work
I
is
used to work in
amazing.
commercials as well. Yeah,
Absolutely.
And his eye is really something.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah, a lot of talent. So anyway, so that's those guys there. All right, so back to you, Ray. Sorry about that.
So that picture was taken at Atlanta Motorsports Park, which has a wonderful karting track. And when we got together, I came here to Southern California last November to talk with Jeff about putting together an exhibit of a few of his cars, the Pikes Peak cars, for the Heritage Gallery at PEC Atlanta. And so we were talking about that, and we sort of, when he brought the cars out to us, we do this thing called Moving Day. Whenever we have to move the museum cars around, we try to do it every 6 months. It's really a lot of work, a lot of pushing cars around and setting up these exhibits and what have you, and DJ will attest to that. He does a lot of the pushing with me, for me. Yeah, is
that true?
With the team. Yeah. So we designed this day, said, well, if you're going to unload the transporters, you're going to pull these cars out, and we have this little track out the back of the building, we might as well hear what the cars sound like and see what they look like. When they're running.
Love
Yeah.
that. What a good excuse to take those cars on.
Yeah, so we have this little core group of people, the ones that contribute their cars, and And we said, well, we'll just do these in little groups and go out and sort of parade around the track so you can run your car before we put it away for 6 months. And so Jeff came out when we dropped off those 3 cars back in January, and we had one of those rare 70-degree beautiful days in January in Atlanta. And we spent the day out there along with the other guests driving these cars around. And we started talking at lunch about go-karting. I don't remember how it came up. So we started going, Jim and I going on about how great this track is. 4 stories of elevation change. It was designed by the same designer that did the road course in Atlanta there, Motorsports Park, and also COTA, I believe, along with some other F1 tracks. So this designer really knows what he's doing. So you've got these 4-story of elevation change, including one called ski jump, which you come up the hill and then just 4 stories straight down basically and turns and go back up the other side.
That
So-
you're meant to do in a vehicle?
Go-kart. And it's a
Okay.
rental kart, actually. They race other karts there, too. But
Puts me in the mind of a go-kart Laguna Seca almost with the corkscrew.
Yeah, pretty
that
much.
Kind of
Oh yeah,
elevation
I'm
drop.
picturing like K1 but outside, and
Yeah.
it's nothing like that.
Oh.
It's insanity. Wow.
yeah, they're 55, 60-mile-an-hour 4-cycle
What?
go-karts. Yeah, and they're totally enclosed, and you wear
Yeah.
these little seat belts, and they've got rental helmets and everything.
Oh,
But
I can't
Shifter
wait.
carts or centrifugal? Okay.
They're not
4-cycle,
shifter, but
just a 4-cycle. When I raced karts back in the day, they were two-stroke and shifter karts and what have you, but I never raced a 4-stroke until now. And so it's just so much fun. You go out there, arrive and drive kind of thing. So we really started talking to Jeff about this, and he was, that sounds really cool. That sounds really cool. And so when we come back, maybe you go. We'll come back. Yeah, okay. So when he came back to do that event, which was in the end of February, I believe it was, around a weekend, we were going to do like a bring the cars in, everybody have some conversation, then we'll get together down in the Heritage Gallery, about 200 of our friends, and just have a conversation about this safari culture. And so that was going to be Saturday morning. And so Friday morning, when Jeff showed up and stayed in the hotel across the street from OPD, One Porsche Drive.
Getting the codes here. That's their 30 Rock. Got it.
That's it.
Got it.
So he
and
stayed.
then you've got the Solace right next door, which is their new Porsche themed hotel. It's not even been open that long. When did it open? Last November?
Yeah. To
and it's
Porsche Drive.
No kidding.
beautiful.
I was going to say, I bet it's beautiful.
It's insane.
Yeah, come stay.
Yep.
So
Thanks, Ray.
you're welcome. So we went over to have breakfast on Friday morning to welcome Jeff, and Doug from Haggerty was there, and so we were all talking at breakfast, and we get through with all the here's what we're going to do kind of thing, and Jeff finally says, well, now tell me what the next 48 hours look like. And I described that night with the
This
dinner.
is the itinerary. This is what
Yeah, the
you're there for
itinerary,
2 days. Okay.
Friday night we're going to have this dinner. Saturday morning and get up and do this, do that, and here and by lunchtime we should be done. And he said, okay. I said, what about the kart track? And I said, you really want to go do that? Because I would so do that. And he said, well, to be frank with you, he said, that's the reason why I rented.
That's why I came here.
That's why I rented a car, because we're right by the airport. He said, because if
You are the airport. Are you kidding me?
Pretty much.
You share a fence.
we
Repeating.
do. Runway 2. Yeah. Right off runway 2. So he told me, he said, yeah, he had rented a car because had we not brought it up or talked about it, he was so interested in it from the idea back in January that when we were done, he was going to get in his rental car and go up there with or without us.
Whoa.
How funny is that?
way.
Yeah.
That's great.
So, I mean, the
He
guy
was
you talk-
committed.
Yeah, you talk about authentic. I mean, there's a guy there that just loves to drive, just loves to race. And his first time there, I mean, just super competitive and just so much
How
fun.
cool.
Yeah, it's like something changed. It's like boom, like and he's like they have a course, like a track map or whatever. He's like, okay, I'm probably late apex here. Then you're gonna want to hit this line down. I was like, whoa, like what am I like? What are we going up against here? Like that's how he rolls. It was awesome to
When you're
see,
at that
though.
level, right?
And this guy, oh my gosh, like I mean, you've been doing karting a while,
Yeah, and in fact,
and it shows.
thank you.
Yeah, no, amazing.
Well, I remember when I first moved to Jacksonville, and it was we had 103rd Street out there, which was a pretty well-known kart track in Jacksonville. It's a public park, which is still hard to believe in this day and age.
And not to interrupt, but why were you in Jacksonville? Where were you working? What was that dealership
Oh,
called?
don't tell me.
Where were you?
Don't tell me.
What were you? The GM of Brumos? Is
Come
that what it
on.
was called? Yeah,
Little
dude.
Porsche dealership there.
Yeah, that's what he used to do.
As in Hurley Haywood, Brumos Racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after a couple,
No big
first
deal.
year I worked there, I had a shifter cart because when I wasn't working, I would be at that track because it was a fun track to drive, and the shifter carts are awesome to drive. And we invited Hurley out to try the shifter cart. You want to come out and do it? So he comes out one day to do that, and he brings his helmet and suit and all that, and we're getting ready to go out and warm up the cart, bring it. Now it's his turn to get in, and he gets into it, and I start explaining now this, that, the other, and the whole thing, and you can tell he's really kind of not listening to me.
In one ear, out the other. I've already got the racing line in my head. Stop.
Yeah, it dawns on me. I'm talking to Hurley Haywood.
Oops.
It's pretty amazing.
He knows what to do.
We met him at the there was a Porsche design gala or a launch or something like that. We met
Okay.
him there, the tall, skinnier fella.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Just saying for you've actually met him as well.
Thanks. I'm sure he's looked
Porsche
like-
wife. Porsche wife.
This is what Porsche wives look like. And I'll shout out to Daria, who hashtagged it herself when she was at something else, taking a picture of her guy that she loves, who loves Porsches.
That's awesome. They come to Breakfast Club a lot.
She used to be my landlord.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
It's also true. I don't want to go down that tunnel right
We
now,
don't
but
have
it's totally
to, but
true.
Just FYI.
Right.
Anything else?
Nope, Porsche just brings people together. Thanks so
does.
much.
That's totally true, though.
It
It's
does.
totally true.
and
Yeah.
we're back on top.
Seriously.
Yeah, just like
Slam
that.
They used to
dunk.
be professional, too.
You're
guys.
totally making up for that first commercial break we did. Keep digging your way out, girl. You'll get there.
I have no plan, no hopes of getting out.
It's all good.
I just live in the flow.
All right, Ray.
So-
Seriously.
Jeff Swart, awesome dude.
Awesome.
I'd rather talk about you. What have you done while you're in town? Let's get that out of the way real quick, because this is Luft weekend, and you guys have already done a handful of stuff.
Yeah, last night was the kickoff party at the Peterson. That was wonderful to see the exhibit out there, the work that went into that, and I posted about that this morning, as a matter of fact,
Was that your first time?
for the Porsche effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that a lot of the work and the people that worked on that to get that together, and that is just amazing. So again, to the community topic, just to show you what you can do and everybody works together.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect example of that. So from an inspirational standpoint, artistic, everything, the exhibit is just wonderful. Educational, it's
What's is there a name for it?
the
Or
Porsche effect.
It's just that's
Yeah.
the name? Okay.
Yep. Which was actually why I came down the first time I did you guys' show.
right, it was
I was there for the opening of
The
that.
actual opening night.
Yep. And he hadn't
Oh, right.
seen it, and I was like, oh, I cannot wait for you to see this, because, going to his heritage center, that's his baby. Like, he helps set all of that up. So
Can
for
you
him
tell us
to-
about that too? Because I don't know exactly what that is, other than it's not open to the public. It's not a museum, right?
Well, the PEC Atlanta is where the Heritage Gallery is in Atlanta, the headquarters, and it's open to people that have an appointment.
Is that
at
at
the
OPD?
PEC. Yes,
Okay.
AKA PEC Atlanta, or hashtag PEC ATL.
Over the fence.
ATL,
Over the
shawty.
fence.
Right. So this is when you have an appointment in the building, whether to drive a car on the track, have lunch in Restaurant 356, or you're there for business purposes. It's
Your restaurant is 356. That's so nice.
Yeah, funny.
Yeah,
Not
I like that.
Well, see, that makes sense, and it's a good segue because our Classic Center is at PEC ATL, so Restaurant 356, and here in PEC LA is where Motorsports has their headquarters, Restaurant
917.
917. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Cool.
It does.
Porsche just thinks of
Really
everything,
thought
don't
out.
they?
They do.
So what exactly is it? Is it just a display that's constantly on rotation, or
Yeah, pretty much. It's a lot like what has happened there at the Peterson. There are a few Porsche museum cars that we work in that we bring over from Stuttgart, but it takes the people that you know with the willingness to loan you their car for anywhere from 3 to 6 months or a year in some cases, and some of those folks we get to work with, like Bob and Rory and Cam Ingram from the Ingram collection.
Oh wow.
There's never not been a time that building has been open. Now since 2015, there hasn't been one of their cars in the building.
Wow.
You've seen their cars. You know how beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
You can't be into Porsches and not know who the Ingrams are.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I was
it's-
going to say, just if you've been on YouTube and you're into Porsches, I mean,
Yeah.
there are so many videos from, I just think of Chad McQueen driving their cars and stuff like that. And the
Vic
people
Elford.
that are in they consider in the family, so to speak, that they're, from what I've heard from everybody, incredibly generous about folks
Absolutely.
driving their cars because they know
sharing
that they're
them.
to be driven.
Yeah, exactly.
Are they in Virginia? There was something I saw with that they were all on VIRR.
Raleigh, Durham,
Okay.
North Carolina,
Gotcha.
which is close. They're close to VIR, so we can take the cars out and exercise them.
It's so nice.
But they're all about the educating of the public and the sharing that passion. We're talking about their book that Cam wrote with Randy Leffingwell and Michael Furman, photographer. Porsche Unexpected is a great book about their collection, but also about how it came together. So if you haven't seen it,
Wow, that's
check
so
that
cool.
out too.
All right, I'm going to go to another picture here, Ray. Let's see. I guess we'll surprise you. How about this?
Okay, that's from the panel. That's from the panel discussion that we did with Jeff and Jim.
So is this actually at? Where is
Yeah,
this?
this is in the lower level of the Heritage Gallery. That's our motorsport corner. You see the Foster Quaker State Indy car from
Sure.
the Porsche Museum behind us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an example of what folks get to see when they come in on a normal day. Normally, we're not sitting there talking like that.
Is the gallery set up? Everything is that all?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, the images on the wall are from the Porsche archive of photos of Porsche motorsport in America.
Is this part of? Is this all changing constantly as well?
The cars do. The pictures on the wall for now are sort of there all the time.
That's where they live. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask a silly sidebar
No,
question?
there are no.
There
silly
is
questions.
no silly
Well,
exactly.
Well, on this side of town.
Just wait.
Is that your office, that photo? Like all the stuff that we're talking about, this heritage, whatever, that's like the ground floor of where the head offices are? Or is it a separate location?
You're right. It's the corporate headquarters for Porsche Cars North America.
Okay.
So a lot of folks look at the building here in LA, and it's not as large, but that's because it doesn't house a corporate headquarters.
Right.
It has the other side of it, which is where Porsche Motorsport is, their North American headquarters. And so their track is larger here in LA, but the building is larger in Atlanta because that is the corporate headquarters. So that's
There's actually really a building. I mean, there's really an actual building
yeah.
next to, because you have a PEC that's its own thing that's more similar to what we have, but then the actual Porsche building.
right.
is-
So folks come in because of the corporate headquarter aspect and because of the proximity to the airport. We do have a front gate. And so a lot of people, you can't just roll up and walk in kind of like you do here during business hours in LA because of those
security, I would imagine,
right,
with the airport.
Right. So you have to have an appointment, which is why the idea of having a swap meet there on a Sunday or something and just come one, come all is not possible because we have to register everything through the gate. So there's that aspect of it. But yes, it's a larger building. You might recognize it for you movie fans as Avengers Headquarters.
Oh, is that right?
Whoever, Alfred on Tuesday is excited about Avengers, so
Yeah.
I'll just clear my throat. Thanks for that.
Well, the building is designed. It was done by HOK in Atlanta to be very very much like a Porsche. It's a very sleek building, and it doesn't have a lot of air conditioning vents and units on the roof and things. Is that when you fly over it, it's supposed to be formed kind of like a Porsche.
That's
And
neat.
It's really cool. Yeah. And so right before it opened, the management had received a phone call from Marvel Studios about wanting to come scout the location. They saw the building.
No
and
way.
so it kind of went from there, and it became the location for Avengers Civil War and for Spider-Man Homecoming.
No shit.
So if you go back and watch the movies of having been there, you probably recognize a lot of it.
I just
pretty neat.
love that Porsche is subsidizing their income with filming locations.
Right?
I mean, I don't really know what to make of it. I think it's
Atlanta-
fantastic.
Atlanta's a hotbed
Hollywood
for filming
itself,
right
yeah.
now.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
sure,
absolutely.
sure. No, I get it. Just it's
But
more
it
on the
is
lines
funny.
of Porsche. Yeah, it's Porsche.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Gosh.
Yeah,
so-
they've got everything there, though. I mean, like your finance, like Porsche Finance is headquartered there. I mean, everything.
Well, the
It's-
idea was to take all these subsidiaries that Porsche had throughout the United States and bring them under one roof. That's where the one Porsche drive came from. So that the collaboration, the working, as you walk around the whole building, it's just phenomenal. You'll see places to sit and have a pickup meeting, different innovation areas. It's really,
Different chairs in different places to sit.
You wouldn't
Did they
believe
consult you on the
the
chair choices?
chairs.
You know, they didn't, but I certainly approved.
But you approved, I would imagine. I imagine the wise choices made all around.
Well, we have womb chairs. In the,
Oh, that's your
in
favorite.
the
We don't have
Rare
one of those,
Cafe.
but you love that.
Yeah.
It's like a
The bamboo ones?
Nope.
Nope, different.
We
I'll
have the
show ya.
the planter,
Bamba Booey.
planter tables.
Oh,
My
that was nice
Rochester
too. Yeah.
showed.
I love it all. All right, let me show you. What is this one here?
Yeah, that's
It's a great shot.
I love that. I love that picture from because of the car and the.
Yeah, I almost cropped it to make it better, and then I said, "No, we need the car."
Yeah, that's a special, and of course, my friendship that's come with the owner of that car since then has been very special as well. But its original driver, racer, owner is sort of how I managed to get to, I think, started on the path to where I am today with the kindness and the generosity of the late Bob Aiken.
Okay.
So back in the '80s, when I was a teenager and trying to get closer to the action, I lived in Pittsburgh, your town.
PA.
Yeah. And we didn't have much.
I want to get to how you guys know each other before the day is up too. So don't let me forget that.
It's super easy. Instagram. That's
Okie
it.
doke.
Totally.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Totally.
Like
That's
all of
amazing.
this, yeah.
Yeah.
But we had a lot more in common than we originally thought too. Like we had the
Like
whole
us with
Pittsburgh, like,
furniture.
car-
I was going to say
Yeah.
how it all goes.
You
yeah.
had me at chairs. Except I'm not into chairs.
You're just a conduit.
Yeah, I am.
So here I am,
So Pittsburgh.
16-year-old looking to get closer to the action. And the only racing event, there was no pit race, and Nelson Ledges was kind of our home track. And if you're familiar with that, and
I don't know that.
it's not really.
You wouldn't.
Oh.
It's like nothing now. Like they're trying to bring it back, but back in the day, it was like a super popular
Whoa.
track. It's like 40 minutes from my house, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't have the best amenities and all that, and or track conditions. I think it made the original Sebring look like
right,
Coda today, probably.
right.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, dude.
It was rough, but
Sebring's rough.
Yeah, this
Old
is
Sebring was
this
really
is,
rough.
This is Mo rougher.
Wow. Look it up.
But Pittsburgh had a vintage Grand Prix that started in the early 80s, and so by 86, a 3-year-old event or whatever, I pulled out my road and track magazines, which I've had just about a full collection I inherited from my uncle. And I went to the back of where the car clubs were listed, because that was kind of your internet of the day. And I was Googling all the car clubs. I went to the back of the classified section, and I wrote all the car clubs, and I said, I live in Pittsburgh, and if you want a story for your newsletter and pictures, then just help me get pit passes to the Vintage Grand Prix, and I'll get them for you. And of course, I didn't know anything about taking pictures. I didn't know anything about writing, but I just wanted to get in there and get closer to the cars. So 86 happened to be the year that Bob Aiken won the 12 Hours of Sebring with the Coca-Cola car, and I had remembered that.
So cool.
He was writing for Road and Track, and when I heard his name announced over the loudspeaker when I arrived there, I thought, I got to go find that guy and talk to him. And the whole weekend sort of wound up getting built around their son, Bobby Aiken, and his racing a Formula Junior. That's how he was learning to race, was with that in a vintage race car, Lotus 18 Formula Junior.
Wow.
And so the story was written around that. And he was just so kind to me. He said, "You've never been to an IMSA GTP race before? You should come up to Watkins Glen and check it out." So
cool.
Made sure we had pit passes for that, and so that's how that
Watkins
friendship.
Glen's a great track
It
too.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's how that friendship started with him, and I've stayed in touch with him for a long time. And
So that's whose car?
that's
It
the
is.
Coca-Cola 962. That's chassis number 102, which was Bob's first 962. He had 3 of them.
And it's a prototype, so that's center cockpit, right? That one?
Yeah, it's kind of off to the right. It's a sports
Oh, it
car,
is?
so
Okay.
it has to have a passenger seat, which is kind of squeezed in the electronics. to
Oh,
the-
I see. It's because of the. I
Yeah.
gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, and so this was at the Amelia Island Concours a couple years ago, and the owner.
Where's that ish?
That's in Amelia
Florida.
Island, Florida.
Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
Just north of Jacksonville.
Thanks.
It's a cool place.
Whenever Garth and Wendy aren't around because he's got to go do Amelia Island, it's the auction thing. He works for Gooding.
It's kind of
Garth,
like
shout out to Garth Hammers, everybody.
Hi, Garth. Hi,
love
Wendy.
you, Garth Hammers.
it's
and
kind of like
Wendy.
the East Coast, like Laguna Seca, like Monterey weekend, I would say,
Yeah, I
right?
would say Monterey.
like Pebble Beach week.
You're right,
Yeah.
exactly.
It has a different vibe, though. I mean, having been to Pebble Beach now and experienced that, and then pretty much growing up with the Amelia Concours, because I moved to Jacksonville in '99, and the show started in '96, so I've been to every one. To kind of watch that grow, Bill Warner and his team do a wonderful job of really crafting the weekend around the idea of different themes, and instead of just sort of a concours for the best of a certain era of car, it might be themes like cowboy cars or IMSA GTP.
How fun.
So,
Or
yeah.
Outlaws.
or
Yeah.
Outlaws. So
Yeah.
there's this.
It's
It's
Fun.
really
Did
fun,
fun.
of you guys to kind of bring some enjoyment to it.
And that's what
really
that's
neat.
what they do, and so I think that was unique, and I see a lot of that now starting to pop up in other shows. But I really think it was Bill and his team that started that. Yeah,
Such a neat integration.
Totally.
Just creatively speaking.
It's
really
just a lot
cool.
less stuffy.
Integration
Yeah.
and ingratiation is what I was going
Yeah.
to say,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden it's not just the same 6 or 8
Duesenbergs.
cars or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
exactly.
course. The ones that
Not
are
that
going to
I'm
win it every
knocking
time.
Duesenbergs, but
No,
you
no,
know,
but
I
they're
mean,
going to win it every time if
Yeah.
we're going on the same
Yep.
check boxes.
Exactly.
right. So there are 2 awards, 2 best of shows. There's the Concours d'Elegance, and then there's the Sport Auto. That's usually it's a race car.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome
That's
stuff.
so cool. The elegance is the one where everyone keeps everything clean, right?
Well, it's right. It's sort of
I love the way you put
Well
that.
said. It's
the best. It's the
so
best.
simple.
I need to keep things simple in my head, man.
I
You
love
know.
it.
so. Yes, it's more the sort of the brass era, the
Okay.
coach built cars and what have you, and then the competition cars could be anything from a 917 to a Bugatti Grand Prix
Okay.
car. Yeah. Alfa Romeo. Yeah.
I'm simply trying to think about, you weren't here for Lit, But I'm trying to think about how
Thanks for
much
rubbing it in.
Brumos license
remind
plate
you of-
frames go for at a lit show or
it's
something like
ridiculous.
that. It's unheard of. And you've got a connection with them as well.
Yeah, I spent 17 years there. As I mentioned, there's a story behind that. I was a car salesman all my life. Still am, probably. I love them so much. And so I was working at a Cadillac dealership, and Bob, who lived in New York, and I was in South Carolina at the time, was kind enough to try and buy one of his cars through me. He was doing me a favor. And the sales manager was giving me a really hard time with trying to put this deal together, just stupid kind of things. And so I went home that night and I called Bob and I said, I really know I appreciate you're doing this for me, but just buy the car up there where you are and don't bother with this situation. And he said, I don't know why you're such a Porsche guy. Why are you selling Cadillacs? You should be working at a Porsche store. He goes, I know a guy in Jacksonville. He said, why don't you come down to Daytona and at the HSR race, and I'll introduce you to him. And that's how I met Bob Snodgrass. So we
Crazy.
Yeah, he walked us over to the bus where Bob was, and he knocked on the door, and the door opens up. And if you know Bob Snodgrass, he's unfortunately also passed away in 2007. He's a larger than life figure. He's really starting in the 70s with Peter, Gregg, and Hurley, put Brumos on the map, and a lot of his marketing is what made that so great. And so he opened up the door and he's like, come on up. So we walk up under the bus, and as I'm walking down to go meet their sales manager to talk to him about possibly selling cars there, I walk past the kitchen, and Hurley's sitting there talking to Rob Dyson and Paul Newman. And I thought, I don't care what they pay, but I'm pretty sure this is my next job.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
What year was this, you said? About
1998.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a great memory.
The 50th anniversary, 20 years ago. Yeah, it was
No
the
shit.
50th anniversary of the company, and here we are at the 70th
Wow.
this year.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it
like
is.
just the happenstance in those two instances, and look where you are now.
Totally. I mean, it's the people that you get to meet. I mean, it's a total blessing for sure. The friendships that come out of it, and the creativity that comes around it as well. I mean, you, Dwight, the work that you and Nicole are doing. So I mean, it's there's so many examples of that, and that is so inspiring. That's what gets you up, and it leads to the work that we do now. Kind of get into the classic factory restoration now. The end of it that we're involved in, not just the Heritage Gallery, but the work that we do with the factory restoration program.
I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah, well, we see the craftsmen that do this work to bring these cars back to the point where they're reliable, driving cars the way that they were engineered and designed to be. Nothing against patinaed cars that are well maintained, but certain cars hit a point where they're not functioning the way the engineers intended, and it's in that case it's kind of a disservice, I think.
And as we understand it, this guy here does all the work.
You look so familiar.
There was a note that came along with this picture saying, and if you noticed how I'm dressed, obviously I don't work on the cars myself.
I had posted another picture. This is as we were taking the 356 apart for the job that's going to take place between the Atlanta facility and the Stuttgart facility.
Oh, cool.
The Intercontinental Restoration. Where I'm standing there looking at the engine, and my hands are in my pocket, and another one of our managers from the company for Porsche Classic is standing there with his hands in the pocket. Of course, I posted that picture, and would you think the comment was from everybody about that?
Get your hands out of your pockets.
Yep.
Get to work.
You can tell who's working on the car.
Yep.
But that's not what I do. I'm not the hands-on when it comes to the talent for that. That's why I respect so much the work that Jack and Kellen in our shop do, and DJ and Zach. There's a specialty that it takes, whether you're finding the authentic pieces that you need, the parts. Obviously, we make over 52,000 of them, and there's 200 to 300 more every year that get added to this catalog.
Speaking of the parts and the catalog, you brought gifts as well.
I did. You have
I
to
don't
open
think
them.
I should probably individually unwrap these.
Looks
but
like
can we
there's
talk
enough
about
for me,
what they
Dwight.
are? They're definitely it's a series of books. This feels like a series of books.
Well, there's plenty of chairs in here that you could sit and read that. I'm sure as a couple.
Would the picture you provided be what is in here?
Yes.
Okay, so I can show that.
Yeah, that's Originale, which is the new. You're welcome. This is the new product news
I
and
see.
stories. Yeah.
Green, brown, yellow. There
Yep.
you go.
And actually,
How cool.
if you're at Luftgekot on Sunday, did I say it right?
Luftgekot, I believe,
Luftgekot.
is how it's said.
Yeah.
That's how I
it's,
train myself to say.
Right. So Luftgekot. 5 on Sunday. We actually have an exhibit there of these catalogs, and we'll have them, a limited supply of them, available.
Oh, for purchase?
No, they're not for sale. They're for you to have.
Oh.
Yeah. So the idea is that the Porsche Classic partners that we have, there's 8 of them right now, is growing. I think by the end of the year it may be closer to 10. But all over the world that is growing. The idea that the dealers that have the specialty and the passion, enthusiasm for classic models, and of course our authorized dealers that also do as well, that might not be called classic partners, but they are available. So you can go to your locally authorized Porsche dealer or classic partner.
That's so cool.
And request a copy, and they should hand it to you if they have them in stock.
Because those will last 45 seconds at Lufka Court.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, those are gonna.
That's all I could think. They're gone.
Exactly.
But they did a great job with this, because this is a communication piece that, in the back there are part numbers and pictures of the parts, which, there's...
That's awesome. That's priceless reference material.
Some of the stuff is really cool, but some of the washers and nuts and bolts and things, it gets. So how do you make that interesting? And this catalog is a perfect example of that. The stories behind the parts, why they're made that certain way, why this is important that it fit properly, that type of thing. The events, everything behind it. It's sort of the Porsche Classic world communication, and it's
really fascinating.
It is. You really do need to open them and read it.
Right now?
You can.
What I noticed from this is that you definitely have a way about you. So what I'm noticing, there are some parallels between what you see in this book and the furniture that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
It's not just what the product is, it's how it was made, it's why it was made, it's who it was made by. All of that stuff is important.
You know what I love about
It's all
Ray?
part of it.
Ray is like a Bob Snodgrass to so many other people, and I don't think you realize that.
There you go.
Like what
There you
you
go.
do for other people, like you're totally paying it forward.
Well, thank you.
You're taking what opportunities you had given to you, and you're extending them to new people. Like, I mean, we didn't know each other from Adam, prior to Instagram, and he's been so gracious. Like, he knows I'm only just a flight away from Atlanta, so anytime anything cool comes up, he's like, dude, come on down. Like, we'll go hang out. We'll do this. Like, I love that about just everyone in this, especially Ray, but like everyone in this hobby is so just passionate about everything and wants to share everything and spreading
That's what it's all
positivity.
about, yeah.
It really is. And Ray says it all the time. He's like, we're all bonded by this same mark or whatever of car, but at the end of the day, like, it's the people that's the reason we keep coming back for more.
Yeah.
And it's true. It really is.
It's
You can
really
feel that
true.
in this room. It's crazy.
That's what this weekend's all about. You go to these shows.
It is.
It's getting to the point now where you go to the shows, and good thing we have Instagram and pictures, because that's now how we see the cars. You're standing there the whole time talking to people.
Exactly.
Right?
100%.
It's so true.
100%. And then I'll get home later and be like, I thought I took a picture of that, blah, blah, blah,
Yep.
blah, blah. We talked to that guy for 15 minutes, but I didn't take a
I
picture.
didn't even see that car.
Totally forgot. Yeah, that's the other thing,
Right.
too.
Yep.
Sometimes there's one right next to the one you were taking a picture of, but you were so concerned with the light or whatever it was to get your image that you didn't even notice, and you missed
Talk
out.
about missing the forest for the trees sometimes.
We're all
It's
trying to
funny.
be Jeff Zwart. See, that's the beauty.
Exactly. And we're all failing miserably.
That's where it comes down to, what are you capturing, right? Because we try to, more than capture whatever it is that we're looking at, we try to capture what the experience was
moment.
looking at it. Yeah. And that's why
Absolutely.
I think some of our pictures are a little bit different maybe than, and I'm not saying better by any means, it's if anything the opposite. It's like it doesn't focus so much on the artifact so much as
Just have different goal. That's all.
it's the perspective.
It is.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Someone said to us yesterday, I think at Breakfast Club, they were,
Huge turnout, by the way. Thanks to everybody
Yeah,
who came out to Breakfast Club
huge
yesterday.
thing.
Huge.
but talking about how he could feel that this is a moment in history in the making, and it feels, it does feel like that. And I wanted, again, delete me after, but I just wanted to say thanks to the Porsche guys, because you guys, in a really roundabout way, there's so much more of a story, but you gave me my life back.
Aw.
Very, very seriously and legitimately.
Aw.
Oh, that's
So I'll stop, like I said, delete. But I just want to say thanks, you guys, because it means so much. And the creativity that you guys bring to the table really helps people see their own creativity. And the fact that you guys kind of ingratiate so many different kinds of Porsches and you guys and whatever, versus like, this is the newest, fastest, which is amazing technology, but you guys bring the personalities behind it, and it really helps.
Well, thank you. That's very appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I mean, it's so true though. The enthusiasm, the community, right, and the giving back. I mean, we all just do this because this is what we love. We have a common interest, and it does all bring us together. And so that's really what the cars are. I mean, they're transportation vehicles for that. So maybe someday in the future, right, if there's autonomous cars that, you just get in a pod and somewhere you go.
These aren't them.
No, they're not. And it just shows you, again, how prophetic Ferry Porsche was when
Yeah.
he said that the last car ever built will be a sports car. And it'll be a Porsche sports car, most likely. And so, and of course, we'll keep the ones running that are out there already, because you know what the interest level is for that and the love of that.
Well, that's more of almost what you're doing with Classic.
Yeah, and I think about these cars and sort of how we're doing the car. In the case of you take a 356, for example, that we can redo this car in such a way, inserting it into the new car assembly line and giving it the dip bath, the primer coating, the paint. Now, obviously, that's not going to be the Pebble Beach
Sure.
exact.
But what if you want a car to drive for the rest of your life and your kid's life and maybe their kid's life?
Isn't that true for Car for Life?
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of, so you think about it, this 356, which it took 50 years to get to the point where we need to do this now and redo the car. But now that'll never be an everyday car. It'll never sit outside in a bar. I mean, with the way we do these cars, they should last forever.
Yeah.
And you think about how future generations, maybe when you can't drive, will get a chance to experience that and say this is the way that it was supposed to be. And still the best of that era, genre, sports car, if you will. So
I love it.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, I love
The fact
all
that
of
a
it.
manufacturer cares about that. I mean, they already got their money for that 356 years ago, but the fact that they still embody that car and still find it significant.
How about it's
that's
work they still
awesome.
stand behind?
Exactly.
Like as an artist, as a creator.
Yep.
Like still standing behind your work. 70-year warranty? Unheard of.
Yeah.
And I don't mean a warranty, but like someone who
Sure.
stands behind their work.
Exactly.
That's
I
crazy.
love that you can see someone in a parking lot who's got an old classic Porsche and know that you can have a conversation with them and that you're someone they can ask if they do have questions, because there are people, there's a conscientiousness to the company that says you might need an answer and I can get it for you, or I have it. And that's really fucking cool.
A lot of people
community.
don't realize it, but if you go on Porsche.com/classic and you look at the website, there's actually a dialogue box in there, so that if you're working on your Porsche in your garage and you're looking for a part, you don't see it in the catalog. The online catalog, by the way, is in there. Obviously, you still go through, you take that part number to your authorized dealer, and then they can order it for you. But if what you need isn't in there, you can actually say to Porsche, and we need you to say this, is, hey, this isn't there, and I need one.
So you know what to make next.
Right, because if everybody does that, whether it's you in your garage or an independent or a Porsche dealer,
It gives you the full
then
spectrum of what you have. Or
right,
need.
every year you're going to have a budget to improve, introduce 200, 300 more new parts for this 52,000 and growing catalog, piece catalog. You need to know what to do.
Yeah.
What to do next. What do people need? And so that's how a lot of that's figured out. So yeah, Porsche Classic is a division within Porsche in Stuttgart that has a good number of people. It's surprising how large it is actually. But when you consider everything that they have to do, what it takes to go find a manufacturer that can pump out 1,000 bolts that may be a 10-year supply for us, but they can do it in 5 seconds, but you still have to tool up to do it. Then you have to be able to sell it at a price that people can afford to pay for it.
Yeah.
Which might be fine for a 959 owner, but if it's a 914 part or 924. So
I adore the fact that this exists. I
Isn't it
really
fantastic?
do. Yeah, just from, somebody who, I was never this way with Porsches. I got into the game too late as a tinkerer. But with other car companies and, in other communities that we've both been part of.
Yep.
If there were some place to go to be like, I need this part.
Yep.
Because how many times did you making things, you have to literally make something to make that part. You got to make a tool to make a tool, kind of thing.
Yeah, especially with the movie car world.
Yeah, so how about you get online or your phone, or you go down to the local place and be like, you do all these great things, but you don't make this one part. Well, that's all right. Well, but you need that part? Well, other people are going to need that part. Well, we're going to make that part.
Unheard
that's
of.
a whole thing.
Unheard
it's a
of.
whole thing. It's a resource that is, I think, in the car community, really kind of new.
Yep.
I know Mercedes does some classic stuff. I know there are
They
other
do a nice
places,
job, yeah.
but to do new old stuff like this at this level, when our audience is like discerning,
Yep.
it's a really good
To
offer.
say the least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really good offer.
I think a lot of that stems too, like when I went to the Porsche Center in Atlanta for the first time, Ray, of course, like cleared his schedule, showed me around, like didn't have to do that. Of
Seems
course
to be
he
your
did.
style.
It is. It's just how he rolls. He's
Just like Owen Hayes.
Exactly. Same thing with Owen Hayes yesterday, you know.
Passionate
but
Porsche people.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when you walk around, it's almost like a campus, really, because you have so many people in that same space and different departments and whatever else. You walk around and everybody's smiling. Everybody is happy to be
Now
there.
you're talking our language.
Everybody
Yeah.
wants to be at work. You can tell that people probably get there really early for work. You know, even though
You
they
would,
may,
right? You would.
I'd never leave in the first place.
Yeah.
I'd just
You guys have a cut.
camp out. Exactly. Exactly.
Porsche design. I've got a new
Everybody.
new idea for you.
From the time you go through the front gate to the time, you know, the guy drops off the sandwich at the cafe, everyone's happy to be there. All of
Wow.
the driving coaches come in and they have lunch with everyone else. I mean, it's this, everyone is like meshing, and it's so great.
Like a very cool environment.
Does this sound right?
It's true.
And it's the same is to be said about the LA Center as well. I mean, it's
That people are very happy at the LA
absolutely.
Center.
You probably go to Zuffenhausen. It's the same way there. Everyone is happy to be there. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody's positive. It's so like you are re-energized when you leave that gate again. You are. It's so fantastic. And they, you know, I work for Southwest Airlines, and it's the same exact way. Like, people have done case studies on Southwest and our customer service and our culture and everything else. And I think the first time I was ever there, we both said that, like, our cultures are very similar.
Interesting.
When you get on a Southwest plane, more often than not, people are happy to be there. You're greeted with a real smile. It's
Yeah.
not BS. Like, we
And
love our job.
You're very
We-
transparent with what you stand for.
Absolutely.
Which Porsche is
Absolutely.
as well.
We all are happy to come to work and provide, you know, customer service that's always number one in ranking, and it shows. You can't fake that.
Speaking of which, you guys both, the 70-year sports car the little little blurb that you guys just put up, fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you like that? The
I loved
sports
it.
car together or whatever?
Yeah.
Holy cow, that was a great.
Yep.
Did you see that little?
No.
It's a new campaign that they're doing, and I'm assuming for the anniversary.
Yeah, June.
Oh man, so
It's
good.
a week before Le Mans.
It just shows like family, you know, like a father and son, and a bunch of different little images, but sports car together.
So great.
So cool.
Hashtag.
Sounds.
Sorry, hashtag sports car together.
It's very Dwight Knowlton-ish too.
Well,
I really
I-
feel like
I-
it's funny.
I understood.
I'll look online for it. Dwight.
Well, specifically the shirt you're wearing.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, they've got this logo.
I thought the same
It's-
thing.
It's so great. It just I
I
don't
don't know
I
who's
feel like
inspiring who, but
but
it's,
we'll
it's
take it.
very nice.
exactly.
Well, Dwight says he's inspiring Porsche.
I just feel like everyone's kind of on the same page right now with everything in the Porsche world, and it's really good.
Yeah.
I love the position we're in. I love where
Isn't it
everybody's
good?
at.
There's a lot of good vibes
Oh,
there.
I
it's
mean,
great.
and the bandwidth of it is incredible. It's like we were talking about this safari sort of thing that's growing now. It reminds me a lot of when the sport purpose our group type thing started coming up. And of course, the Outlaw, you had Rod on not long ago talking about that.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just like there's room enough in the world for all of this, whatever direction you want to go.
It's such an
Well, that and
exciting
Porsche's-
space to be in right now.
And Porsche's still making cars, so
Exactly.
do whatever you want with
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? And if
Yep.
you f it up, go to him, and they'll make it
fix
right for you.
gladly.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Get a catalog, start ordering parts.
It's that
and
simple. Yeah. I don't know what everyone's so precious about. I get that aspect of it too, but enjoy it.
Yeah. And that's where everything's headed, I think. You know, you've got a lot of the old school guys that are like, no, absolutely, it has to be this way. Paint has to be.
Yep.
We have to keep it really clean.
What do you mean?
Which is fine too. You know what I mean? Like that's its
cool
own
too,
thing.
but don't knock the guy that wants
That's
to do
all.
his own thing and personalize. Like, there's enough room for everyone in this
I
planet
agree.
to do what they want to do with what they want to do.
That's the
you know?
takeaway. There's enough room for everybody
Absolutely.
to do whatever the heck they want.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's all we're saying, and that's starting to happen more now. You know,
The
And I
hobby's
love it.
expanding to include more people, to be more
It's
inclusive.
encompassing
I think. It's so
everything, all
rad.
thoughts, and that's what I love about it.
I love these smiling faces. I get a little sentimental. It's like almost time to wrap up, so I'm kind of like, oh, geez, this has been so fun and all.
We'll
I
just
know.
do it again.
Yeah,
We can always do
I
that.
hope so.
How about you, Ray? Is there anything that you wanted to cover from an agenda standpoint that we haven't? I mean, I know that you're here not representing Porsche, but you being here, you represent Porsche.
Yeah,
so
we are here. We're here to meet
I'd like
everybody.
to pay some respect to that, and if there's anything you want to cover or whatever.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, we are here to meet everybody at the show on Sunday. Of course, we'll be at the PECLA tonight with Haggerty, our partners, Haggerty.
Oh, cool.
And they're wonderful folks to work with as well. So we'll be there to meet everybody on Sunday.
Cool.
And again, while we aren't directly selling parts there or anything of that nature, I mean, it's just this idea, I think, of saying that this is what we do, this is who we are, and we're there to support in whatever form you might be taking with the vehicle at that point. So to your point, we can kind of cover that all. So it's just to get out and see everybody do that. Obviously, we do other things back. We've got an event coming up that's going to be really special at the end of the year, sort of like to wind down the 70th anniversary. Back at headquarters is the RM Sotheby's Porsche only sale that we're going to do there, and we hope to see some really beautiful examples of cars there and people.
This is in Atlanta headquarters?
Yeah, October
or
27th is at Porsche headquarters. That again, the building, if you've been there and you see this campus, it just makes sense that they normally take these auctions and put them into a hotel ballroom. And
yeah, that's what I was going to say somewhere else. You're doing it on site?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a partnership
It's really neat.
event that we're hosting with RM Sotheby's, and they just find some of the neatest cars.
And I'm sure you rent that out to RM Sotheby's, so it makes perfect sense. I'm telling you, this location business.
If it doesn't conflict with Iron Man 6.
So that should be a lot of fun. That's about a month after Rennsport. Of course, we have a lot of events between Porsche Parade that we also attend.
Porsche Parade is the PCA one, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
supposed to be big.
Single largest make club in the world.
So cool.
Really?
Yeah, over
Isn't that crazy?
100 and some thousand.
Dwight, what I didn't ask you about was we're getting into the position where we're going to start needing merch. You got nothing but time, right? We can just come see you and add some stuff, add a whole new line, a 111 line.
Good. Dwight's available.
All right. And we need a Mrs. Ryan hat too, because hers is fraying. So we
Yeah.
might need to remake that.
You are going to be getting some surprise merch.
Uh-oh.
Tory, because we had a brainstorm, largely Tory, as usual.
Of course, Tory.
Brainstorm on the way here.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Too close to the event to pull it off, but we're gonna make something happen.
You will love it.
I'm so excited to
Oh,
forget
you
this
are ready.
and relearn
You're gonna
it.
dig
Thanks
it.
so much.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be cool. I can't wait. Yeah.
Not worried about it. You guys are awesome. All right. Well, I guess it's probably time to wrap this up.
Thank you.
Ray Schaefer, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. I'm just going to make this a little wider so we can see everybody. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for finding us, for lack of a better term, worthy enough to come pay a visit. It makes us feel like what we're doing is working, and we're reaching people that we want to reach. And it's sort of like a little pat on the back for us to have you here.
Thank you.
So I just wanted you to know
Big,
that.
huge pat on the back for
Well,
me.
that's very kind of you to say. Thank you. I
Thanks.
love what you guys are doing. Enjoy it, and I love watching it. When I can do that, put that up on the TV and watch instead of some of the other programming that's on TV now.
Keeping up with the Kardashians.
What do you mean?
I guess in a way we kind of are. It's just that this is our Kardashians, right?
This is
We
our
don't script our
Kardashians.
Kardashians.
No, we don't. No, but you know what I mean. It's
I
like
do know what you mean.
All
I
right.
like
Unscripted.
Kim with a lot less ass.
For everybody else, let's see, DJ, Dwight, Tory, and the whole thing is crazy here. But we will see everybody else at Lufkakel tomorrow. We're gonna keep hanging out, but we're saying goodbye to you. Sorry, Ray, Tory, Mrs. Ryan. I love everyone
Love you.
here, and we love you at home. But we're gonna get the heck out of here. See you tomorrow at Luft.
thanks.
Later.